Smaragd can be installed on most subfloors, such as plywood or concrete. Subfloors must be rigid, smooth, flat, level, clean and permanently dry. It is also important that the temperature and relative humidity are at the correct level in the rooms where it's going to be laid. The temperature should be at least 18 degrees centigrade, 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and the relative humidity, RH, no more than 60%. The subfloor must be permanently dry. Wet subfloors can destroy the adhesive and affect the Smaragd. Special care is needed when dealing with direct-to-earth concrete subfloors, partially heated floors, and underground pipes. Measuring the relative humidity, RH, in concrete floors. In the middle there is one of the types of testing equipment available, a measuring instrument, and in front of this, a probe. The instrument measures both temperature and relative humidity. The equipment must always be calibrated. For taking the concrete sample, you need a drilling hammer with a 22 mm, 7/8 of an inch drill to the right, or a sledgehammer and a chisel. The measurement can be done in two ways. Method 1. Measuring in a drilled hole. Drill first to the right depth. Vacuum clean the hole and plug it. The next day, put the probe into the hole and connect the probe to the instrument. The relative humidity and the temperature can be read after about 15 minutes. When measuring according to method 2, concrete pieces, no powder, are carved and put into a test tube with a lid. Measuring can be done later by putting the probe into the test tube. Measuring depth. Suspended floors, a minimum of 20% of the thickness. Concrete floors directly on the ground, a minimum of 40% of the thickness. Maximum RH values for installing Smaragd. 85% RH without moisture insulation. 97% RH with moisture insulation. Note, these figures are not valid for rising damp. These tools are needed for leveling the subfloor. Use cement-based leveling compounds intended for subfloors. The compound is mixed with the recommended amount of water and stirred to a smooth cream. Don't mix too much at a time. The mixture has a limited pot life. The compound is spread out with a wide trowel. After drying, the surface is ground with a grinding machine or a grinding block. Trim at the walls with a putty knife. Smaragd rolls should always be stored vertically. Store the rolls at least 24 hours before installing at the right temperature and relative humidity. These tools are needed when installing Smaragd. A welding rod is enclosed in every roll of Smaragd. There is an installation leaflet in every roll. The sheets are rough cut. Mark the height of the coving on the wall with a pencil. Apply adhesive on the wall so that the adhesive can dry a little before gluing the main surface. Every second sheet should be reverse laid in order to avoid color differences. Fold back the sheet. Don't roll the sheet back because this may cause bubbles after gluing. Spread adhesive on the main surface. Use water-based acrylic adhesive. Do not use solvent-based chlorophene adhesive. This may cause discoloration of the Smaragd. Fold the sheet onto the adhesive. This is one of the most important parts of the installation. A diagonal cut is made out from the corner. Warm the smaragd in the corners and in the coving. Because of the glass fibre reinforcement, it is essential to break the glass fibre in order to get a sharp angle. The inside corner seam is cut in the corner or placed at an angle of about 45 degrees on the wall. Trim after the under edge. Mark the corner on the back side of a piece of smaragd with a lead pencil and groove from the back side to get a sharp corner. Warm the piece before trimming it to one side of the corner. Trim the piece on the other side of the corner by cutting after the under edge. Scribe the seam using a short scriber and cut. When the adhesive has bound, the seams must be welded. These tools are needed when heat welding smaragd. A groover for manual grooving before welding. This shows vertical grooving in the corners. With correct grooving, you'll get 2 thin strips. In the case of larger areas, we recommend using an electrical grooving machine. Leave a maximum of 0.5 millimeters, 3/16 of an inch opening, when cutting the seam for steering the grooving machine. At outer and inner corners, it's more practical to use a feed roller instead of a quick welding nozzle. When welding with a quick welding nozzle, the cord must be moving all the time, otherwise it will melt off. Before joining, the welded cord must be beveled. On the wall, the manual groover is better. Warm in the angle and press with the finishing tool. It is best to use a welding trolley for welding long seams. Trim off with the spatula. Trimming off here is done in 2 steps. First, a rough cut with a sleigh. And a fine cut without a sleigh. Finally, the coving is trimmed. With its rich colour spectrum, Smaragd is suitable for making your own personal floor designs. By using welding cord in other colours, interesting effects can be achieved. Don't forget to give the consumer maintenance instructions when the job is done.